Welcome. It's wonderful that we are able to return to the church again for worship. And we're about to start Mass, and so there's a few things that we want to go over. Everyone is welcome to come to church unless you're ill or have health concerns. Everyone is responsible for their own health. And so we thank you for doing those health checks before you came to church today. The taking of your temperature, making sure that you were feeling well. Masks are recommended. They're not required. And if you're wearing a mask, we ask you to put it on before you leave your car here in the parking lot in the church. Wearing a mask is a new thing for so many of us. And so let's be patient with ourselves, patient with each other, patient and be kind. For different reasons, some people cannot wear masks. And so we ask you to work on keeping that physical distance of 6 feet or 2 meters from others. You've already noticed that there are no hymnals in the pews and there are no prayer books. There will be no physical bulletins, but there will be a bulletin each week, even through the summer, online. Congregational singing and choirs are being discouraged now because of the concern about droplets spreading the virus. You may not be able to sit where you normally sit. The ends of the pews in particular are blocked off so that they allow for physical distancing during the communion procession. There will be a minimal entrance procession, and there will not be a procession of gifts. There will not be a collection, but don't get your hopes up. There will be baskets at the entrance and at the exit for you to leave your offering. Thank you very much for your ongoing support of the mission of the church. The sign of peace will be a non-contact sign of peace, either a nod or a bow. When it comes time for communion, the priest will sanitize his hands beforehand, and the ministers of communion will sanitize their hands beforehand. And coming forward for communion, you need to keep the physical distance. Keep those spots who are 6 feet apart on the floor. And at the front of the communion procession is the sign that says, "Stand here." That "stand here" is where the dialogue with the communion minister, the body of Christ, and amen, all of that dialogue takes place while you're standing on that dot. And only then, after you finish that dialogue, do you move forward, keeping your mask on. The communion minister will drop the host into your hand without touching your hand. And then you will move 6 feet away to the pie-shaped label on the floor, and that's by one of the chairs. And that's where you will, if you have a mask on, you'll take one loop off of one ear, put the communion into your mouth, and then put your mask back on. And then you move forward, keeping that 6-foot distancing. The cardinal is directed that communion is only in the hand at this time. When you leave the "stand here" marker in front of the priest or the minister of communion, no more words are exchanged. The communion minister will sanitize their hands again after giving communion. At communion time, if you're not receiving Holy Communion, we ask you to move out of your pew and into the aisle and step away to give some distance for other people who are going up in the communion procession. We need to be attentive to each other, to the movement of those around us, and so we may need to pause while someone joins the line. We're attempting also to develop a habit of putting the kneeler down when you leave at the end of Mass, because that will be an indication that someone sat there, and so that's a place that we need to sanitize. After the final blessing, you will need to after the priests leave, wait in your place, and you will be directed to leave. section by section, row by row. You'll need to leave without any of that socializing that's so common in the church and even in the parking lot, to maintain that physical distancing. We ask that you use the washrooms only on an urgent basis, and we ask you to follow the directions of all who are assisting us in the church. Please keep a log of when you come to church so that you will be able to refer to that log if there's ever any question. You are responsible for your own health. Remember to do those health checks before you leave home. And because we do so, because we are concerned for our brother and our sister. We are our brother's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. And it is out of Christian love, following the Lord's commandment to love our neighbor. So I thank you for your patience. I thank you for your sacrifices. I thank you for your hunger for the Lord over these past weeks. God bless you.